What's going on, everybody? So, getting the headers done. I finally got long tube headers and the off-road H pipe and a cat back for the 2000 V6. Sorry for the video quality here. Getting a camera soon, but this was the Flowmasters off of the blue car I just picked up. Somebody had replaced that over axle pipe with some Walker one, so I was like, yeah, I'll take it off, put it on this car. This car is not quite good enough to buy a new exhaust for it, so I'm just using hand-me-downs. Few things about this. I wanted to make a better video of this, but I couldn't. So doing headers on this V6, it looks easy as hell. It's not, like usual. When you start the drivers, do the driver's side first. Oil dipstick tube. I broke mine getting it out. You can't see it, but way down in there, I had a JB weld it back together. There's like a, I don't want to say a weld, but like a pinch weld where that goes into the block. And part of the tube came off, and the other part stayed in the block, and nobody sells those dipstick tubes. So I do fix that. So keep that in mind. You're probably going to end up breaking your dipstick tube. For those who don't know, it's this thing right here. You pull the oil dipstick out, and that's what the tube is. I got all my exhaust manifold bolts out easy as hell. I started off by cutting the entire exhaust off. I jacked it up. I unplugged all the O2 sensors, and then took the mid pipe down, cut it right where the cat back would have bolted up to it. Cut all the exhaust off, get it all off. And then the EGR tubes that come off the EGR valve here goes like down and through. It'll go in like right here in the front of the manifold. Take a sawzall and cut that. You're not getting it out with the manifold. You have to cut it off, period, unless you want to take all this crap off. I chopped mine off right there, and then all my bolts that were half fit or 13 millimeter bolts, nuts. Sorry, they're studs with nuts. Some of mine came out with the studs, some didn't. If they don't come out, if the nuts come off and the studs are in there still, you need a, I think it was a 5.5 millimeter is what you got to have. Yep, it'll be 5 or 5.5 millimeters, what it is to get those studs out. Once you do that, these are pace setter headers. The driver's side you have to put in underneath the car. This took me about an hour and a half to get this header in. Getting the old one off, the new one in. The driver's side does not have a O2 bung on these pace setter long tube headers. This is a 2000 Mustang. The 99 2000 Mustangs have the EGR and delete and stuff on them. If you buy the 01 to 04s, they have the EGR provisuals and they also have the O2 provisuals. I have no idea what the difference is. If you know why they're different, 01 to 04, the 99 to 2000, leave it in the comments, because this has California emissions on it. And it's 2000. And it had the AIR system on it. I took all the crap off. I'm going to be getting the EGR block off plate right here, along with taking all this crap off too down the road. When you come over to this side's a pain in the ass. Take your intake, move it out of the way. Take this fuel line that's right here, and a little plastic clip right there, undo it. Move this out of the way, take this, move out of the way. Obviously on both sides, undo your spark plug wires, and take the spark plugs out. You got to jack up the front of the car, put on jack stand securely. Then you got to unbolt, take both the nuts off the motor mounts, or at least on the passenger side, get the one on the driver's side as loose as you possibly can without it coming off. Take a piece of wood block under the oil pan and jack the motor so it goes like this. Take the starter out, disconnect your battery, obviously take the starter, move it out of the way or out of the car completely. Getting a header in there took me about 3.5 hours. I had it jacked up, I thought as high as I could go, and you have to get right to the point of when it starts lifting both sides up. And right to that point, you gotta kind of maneuver it in. It's a pain in the ass. I fought it for a long time. Truthfully, if I was going to do this again, I would just drop the K-member like I do on my Mach 1. Just, in the time it took me to get both these headers, well, this one was easy, but to get that header slid in, I could just drop the K-member out of the way and just had it already in an hour and a half. So, that's one thing right there. Also, what I ended up doing, I don't have a welder or access to one, so I had a JB weld. I had to drill a hole in the driver's side header as far up as I could and I JB welded a O2 bung into it, which surprisingly is holding. I will end up welding it down the road when I get a welder, but for now it's what I got. They give you these Chinesium shit clamps right there with the headers. I don't like those, so I bought band clamps. So that's basically it for the install as far as like the hard parts. You'll need O2 sensor extensions as well. They're a bitch getting them in there. When you do the passenger side, you have to go from the top to plug it in. You won't be able, once the header's in here, you can't plug it in. I had to wait for mine because I forgot that I already had a set. So you gotta reach your hand way the hell. Well, you can't even see it, but way the hell down there. I really can't even find it here for you, but rest assured, it's deep down in there. I got my hand in there just enough though to be able to. Oh, kind of can see that green down there on the right hand side. That's where it is. And the O2s are about, the extensions are about like, I don't know, 12 inches, 13 inches long. And I had to plug those in. If you have the headers, when the header's actually out of the car and the exhaust manifold's off, that's when you should plug in the O2 sensor extensions. Not after you have the headers in, because, like I said, I didn't have mine, so I couldn't do much about it. You might need MIL eliminators. One thing I ran into the problem of is my pace setter H-pipe is a piece of crap. They give you another piece that goes over the H-pipe to the header, but mine is off about that much. So when I put the H-pipe up, I can't pull it apart. That's the problem I'm having. So I gotta try and figure out a way to make that work. I might use some flex pipe, or just go and buy a piece of flex pipe from AutoZone or something. Not that shit cheap stuff, but the actual real flex pipe used for like real good exhaust system. So it's a little bit of play to it, because the mid pipe is way too small for this. I don't know if they sent me the wrong one. Oh, and by the way, the directions for this, when you read the directions to do the headers, it'll tell you to drop the transmission out of the way. You don't have to do that. That's for the passenger side. Just jack the motor up as high as you can on that side and you can clear it. They also tell you to disconnect the steering shaft, which is that right there. You don't need to. I cleared mine by about maybe a 1/4 inch. You don't have to take it apart. You can leave it in there. Maybe with the 01 to 04 headers you do, but the 99 and 2000 you don't. So that's that. But yeah, I ordered the headers and mid pipe from Summit, or from Jegs, I mean, and just not very impressed. I kind of wish I would have bought the Mac ones, but these ones were cheap, and now I see why. But I figure at least the headers are in. I'm gonna try and fab up a way to make that H pipe work tomorrow, and then put the cap back in there. I got to mount hangers and stuff for the right side part of the exhaust, because this was a single exhaust from the V6. And if you're curious how I'm going to mount this with having the stock V6 bumper, well, this bumper's all messed up anyway, so I'm going to just cut out some holes in there to put the exhaust in, like some cutouts right there, and eventually I'll buy a new bumper and then buy one for a GT and then have it painted nice so it matches and she'll be all nice and good. But she's coming along good though, so I'm really curious to see how fast she'll be when the headers and mid pipe are on here. Oh, and by the way, it is pretty cool sound with open headers on this thing. With the shorties that were on here from the factory, and then with the long tubes, both way different sounds. Cool though. But that's it. If you got any questions, let me know in the comments. Have a great night or day. I'm cleaning up my crap here because I'm tired and I want to go to bed. That's 3 valves, so I got this thing, the new blue car, my white car, all projects. So yeah, just a fun time here in the shop. But we'll catch you guys later.